guys, welcome back to Rocket Gyan, my fellow space tubers. Okay, today we are here to witness one of the unique launches that you can say, which will be done by new Shepard rocket, which is headed by Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon company. So the company today, which we will be seeing the launch today, will be of Blue Origins. So here we are to witness one of the unique launches. And why am I saying unique? You will actually get that in a sec. And if you don't know Blue Origin, guys, so first of all, how are you guys? I'll go on with the description and the pre-launch thingy. But before that, how are you? Hi Angel, hi Philip, hi Louis Smith, hi Iron the Space Explorer, and hi Anamika. How are you all? So getting back towards our pre-launch stream. So here we have the Blue Origin rocket company. So Blue Origin, if you don't know, is a rocket company headed by Jeff Bezos, and this company has a aim of promoting the space tourism, right? Like Elon Musk, SpaceX has this aim of becoming interplanetary space species. This company, Blue Origin, has the aim of promoting the space tourism, accessing the space to more and more people. So that's what they aim for. And yeah, they have other launches, another programs also, such that this moon project here, the human landing system. With this, you can say here the human landing system is for the NASA's Artemis mission. In the NASA's Artemis mission, this will be the spacecraft which you are right now seeing will be the you can say the core thingy, along with the lunar starship as well as the Dynetics moon lander. This will also be one of them, and the role of this will be to take the cargo and the astronauts from the gateway towards the lunar south pole. So here you can see here, I won't get into the deep of what it is, but this part of what you are right now seeing is the ascent module of this, and this thing is the descent module. So this is a like an Apollo spacecraft configuration. Although there is one more, the transfer stage, which docks in here, to which basically carries deorbits the spacecraft when it is in the lunar orbit. The transfer stage is also attached here, and it deorbits this whole spacecraft. So yeah, that's what it is. And they are like developing the technology. It's been 3 years now, and yeah, also the space tourism, that's what they are aiming for. And but today what they are doing is the launch of the new Shepard rocket, and the mission number is the NS-14. And why is this unique? I'll tell you in a bit, because this will be their first launch of the NS-4 rocket module. And what is that? I'll just tell you that. So without any further ado, we can head directly towards the rocket, as in what is the rocket and what is its configuration and everything. So yeah, here we have this is a reusable rocket, but it's not an orbital class rocket. So as you can see here, this is the mission profile. From this mission profile only, you will be able to know why is this unique. So we have a liftoff, and this rocket does not go to the orbit. What it does is this just go straight up and then straight down, right? And we all know, I have been talking about this a lot, many times, right? Many times now, like when we go straight up and does not do any pitch maneuver and does not go sideways, then we eventually fall down. And that's what it is. It just goes straight up, and then we have, after the MECO, there is a stage separation at around MECO happens at around 2.5 minutes, and then 20 seconds after, there is a separation of the command pod, you can say that. Okay, then or the capsule, yeah, the capsule as they say. So and then after that, there is a free flight of the booster as well as the capsule, and they both achieves then apogee of around 118 kilometers. uh, Maybe this capsule does a take more height, but yeah, the booster is kind of like I mean, the engines have shut down, so they are not accelerating, but the decoupler must have added some force to the capsule. That's why they could have raised its apoapsis. But yeah, uh, after that, the booster then faces retrograde and comes down into the atmosphere. When it is in the atmosphere, it deploys its wedge wing fins. Yeah, wedge fins first. It deploys its wedge fins first, which is used to stabilize it, and then when the atmosphere is thick enough, it uses the drag brakes. There are 8 drag brakes on this rocket, and then the booster ignites and we have a booster landing. And then the capsule does not land at that time, because that capsule takes some more time, because the aerodynamic properties of the booster and the capsule are totally different, and this thing offers more resistance than this thing, so that's why it remains in air for a long time. And yeah, that's why it takes some more time to land. What was the mission profile. That's how the mission profile looks like. And if you don't know why this rocket is called New Shepard, this rocket is known as New Shepard because the first American to achieve a suborbital flight was named as New Shepard. So his name was Shepard. So that's why this thing is also named after him. So this is a fully reusable rocket, as you can see, because we don't have any second stage. This is the first stage that is also recovered, and obviously the capsule is recovered with the parachute. So it is a fully reusable rocket, and has VTVL technology. Nothing special. I mean, don't worry about the acronym. VTVL just means the vertical takeoff and vertical landing. So here you can see this is how the rocket looks like. I mean, people say that this rocket does not look good, but for me, in case you can say for the paint job, yeah, this thing does look great to me in terms of paint job. This the Blue Origin logo with the feather on it. This is the first you can say rocket which has such a big feather and printed thing on it. So yeah, that's what makes it one, you can say, unique. Then it has these 4 legs, the landing legs, which deploys for it to uh, um land. And we have these control surfaces, these fins, which stabilizes it during the ascent. And this rocket has a very interesting landing profile also, because this does not land like SpaceX, which comes and relights the engine at the very last moment so as to save the most of the fuel. This thing actually relights signal its engine a bit earlier, so that it hovers in for some time and then it lands. So yeah, that's what it does. And yeah, so talking about the propulsion module, which is the first stage, it has the ring and the wedge fins, as you can see here. These are the wedge fins which are deployed in the flight, and this is the ring here. So you can see that we have a gap in here, and this thing is specially designed for that, like that. I mean, the gap you see here is used to change the center of pressure. I mean, and it helps to control the descent. The air moves in these gaps, and moves the center of pressure, which helps in controlling the descent of this rocket. So yeah, it has you can see here, like the SpaceX has some simple design of grid fins and everything, but this thing has so much more than just grid fins. It has drag brakes. It has the wedge fins, I think, is works like kind of like grid fins. And then we have these control surfaces here also. These are the aft fins near the base, and then obviously the landing legs here. So it uses BE3PM engine. PM is nothing but the propulsion module. PM stands for the propulsion module, and it produces a thrust of around 489 kilonewton. We will get back to that in a second, but uh, some facts and figures you can see here. It produces 489 kilonewtons of thrust, and the light which the light, I mean you can see here, it has windows in it, because it aims to fly astronauts or humans in there in the near future. So they don't want any blockage of light due to the glass, so it has a 92% of visible light which gets transferred from the outside, and that's how you can imagine and you can really live the atmosphere and that moment when you are in space. So yeah, that's it. And it has 26, requires only 26 people for one flight, for one launch. So yeah, and this is how the internals of this capsule looks like. You can see here it has multiple windows and it is very cozy inside, I should say that. And speaking of coziness, I must say that since it is being rated for human spaceflight, so it should have a launch escape system. It does have a launch escape system, and the launch escape system is here. The thing which you are table-like thing you are seeing here, na, that is the solid rocket motor here. So if for some reason you have to have escape from the booster, then the solid rocket booster will be actually taking you away from the booster. And since it's a solid rocket motor, that means there will be high g forces, as well as can see there is no fins and anything to control the ascent when the solid motor fires. So yeah, that will be very tumbly ride, I must say, that if a launch escape system fires. So yeah, that was one thing which I needed to say. And yeah, now we can have a look at the engine itself. We have talked about more talked about the rocket, and now we can have a look at the engine. So engine which it uses is a BE3 engine. It was you can say launched into space and powered in 2015, and it uses liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen as its fuel and runs on a gas generator cycle. But gas generator cycle is there, but the thing is that's a expander, yeah, the expander gas generator cycle, which simply means, as you can see here, this is a combustion chamber here, right? And this combustion chamber is actually used to this combustion chamber is actually cooled down with the fuels coming in from the rocket. So it is not like, and the rocket nozzle, as you can see, it is not, I think, to my knowledge, it is not regeneratively cooled. The only thing which is cooled is the combustion chamber, not the nozzle, if I am right. I think I am right. So yeah, so that's what expander means, when the combustion chamber is cooled down with the fuel. So yeah, that's the thing. Here you can see the oxygen turbo pump, the thrust vector control system, main fuel valve, and these are the burners. And the upper stage variant is also there, which is I don't think so this will be flown. They had initially planned of uh, having this new Shepard to upgrade it to something else, but um, I don't think so. But yeah, this thing will be powered by there's a New Glenn rocket also, right? I forgot about that. Yeah, the New Glenn rocket is there, and that New Glenn rocket upper stage will be fired by this engine. So yeah, can say that. That's pretty much about the engine. And yes, Angel, I'll switch over to that in a second. No worries. And yeah, yeah, the one more thing is left before that. The interesting thing I forgot. So here, the thing which you are right now seeing is the mannequin. Okay, and this mannequin is nothing but actually the Blue Origin is uh, for this launch. Okay, let me just tell you. For this launch, the Blue Origin is testing its human space flight equipments. I mean, whatever it wants to. There are microphones and everything, like which the I mean to say, yes, the all the human space flight the thing, the equipments or devices which enables the human space flight, that's what they are testing today. And this is the mannequin they have named as Skywalker, which will be flying today in the capsule and gather the data such as g forces and acoustics to further rate the capsule and entire vehicle for human space flight. So yeah, they will be gathering the data with this thing. And they will be using the NS new Shepard 4 booster, which is an, you can say, human rated booster, which will be launched today, and that will be the first flight of them. So yeah, that is pretty much about it, I must say that. Yeah, if you have any question, you can ask me now, and let me see if we have that, and I'll switch over to the launch stream. Just a sec.
Also, there is lining on the wall that you can see, which is nice and soft. So not only when you're floating around weightlessly, of course, but it's also designed to help suppress engine and other ambient noises inside the cabin. There are also environmental systems, including a cooling system and a humidity control to regulate temperatures and also prevent capsule windows from fogging during the flight, as well as we've got a carbon dioxide scrubbing system today.
Yeah, and Aryan, we should mention one awesome new addition to this first flight here. As we ascend and launch, about 16 seconds into the flight, we're going to start rotating the booster and the capsule at about 2 to 3 degrees per second, and that's going to rotate the whole stack,
wow.
once every 2 to 3 minutes. Now, what that's going to do is for all the astronauts in the capsule, and Mannequin Skywalker in this case, they're going to be able to get a 360-degree view out of those gorgeous windows, over that West Texas valley and that, curved horizon of the Earth. So it's going to be little things like that that are going to make a huge difference for the astronaut experience.
Wonderful.
So I want to thank our engineers for designing this into the flight profile so that every astronaut is going to get that great view. So great job, team. Now, let's check in on New Shepard as she gets ready for her 14th flight to space.
Okay, so this is a very good thing which they have announced. And hi everyone, hi Dave. Thanks Octagrabber. And yeah, so here you can see right now the rocket standing on the launch pad with the umbilicals attached, fueling in the rocket.
All right, everybody, welcome back for New Shepard's 14th mission to space. We're coming to you live. Now, Patrick, we've talked quite a bit about the fact that New Shepard isn't only for tourism, but also for research. And when we fly humans soon, scientists will be able to fly with their research. Also, astronauts could use the New Shepard for training to eventually go into orbital space or up to the International Space Station. So our platform allows astronauts to do end-to-end mission training, which could include, ground crew operations, vehicle operations, and the crew just in general gets good real-world team experience. And what this does is it builds upon our payloads program, which has already taken more than 100 payloads to space on previous missions. And as we noted today, Mannequin Skywalker is on board, and he's going to be taking some payloads with him. You want to tell us about that, Patrick?
Yeah, absolutely. So today, Mannequin Skywalker, our veteran astronaut right there, will be carrying some postcards in his flight suit from a nonprofit Club for the Future. Now, Mannequin Skywalker, on his flight suit, is also going to be wearing a pin from the club's partner, Space Camp from Huntsville, Alabama. Now, this is going to be the third flight for our Club for the Future, and we have flown, we're about to fly 50,000 postcards on board this flight. Very exciting. And in total, we've flown more than 100,000 of these postcards to space from students around the world.
That's awesome. Have a great flight, Mannequin Skywalker. I think we're both pretty jealous that we're not in there with you today.
I know.
All right, Patrick, so we all know here at Blue Origin, we've got this step-by-step approach. It's our philosophy that we live by here at Blue. And while today's flight is focused on another big step towards flying humans, it's also going to continue to prove out technologies and architectures that we'll use on other vehicles. And Patrick, I believe there actually is some technology on board today that is helping one of the projects that you're working on. Is that right?
That's right, Aryan. So I'm part of our advanced development programs team, and we're very thankful for all the progress that New Shepard has made. It's a very robust system, and on this mission, we're going to continue to prove it out for human spaceflight. But in doing that, we're also going to be further demonstrating the flight heritage of that BE-3 engine there. That's a liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen engine on that booster that you see there. Now, for our descent element, which is part of the integrated human landing system, that's the lander for NASA's Artemis program, we're using that same vertical landing, vertical takeoff architecture. We're using the same autonomy schemas, and then we're also using the same propellant type for that BE-7 engine there on that bottom of that lander too. Now, if we see right there, that's our BE-7 engine firing at Huntsville, Alabama. That's at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. Gorgeous. I love seeing all that smoke and fire come out of that engine, right?
Yeah, and if you look closely, I think you can even see some shock diamonds in there.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's actually all steam. That's because when you have liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen burning together, it actually produces, just steam, which is really, super eco-friendly if you're firing these things in the atmosphere.
Of course, what we see coming out of the tail end of New Shepard on her way to space, right?
Exactly. Very, very same propellant combination. And so, as we saw on our last flight, we had lunar landing sensors on that one on board the booster, and that allowed us to test precision landing technology for terrain relative navigation and hazard avoidance. And as you saw there in that picture-perfect landing, our team gathered a lot of great data, and we're flowing into future New Shepard flights with those sensors, as well as to NASA to advance this sensor technology even further. And so in the future, we can take all of that great tech and apply it to our lunar missions. And so with every mission that we do on New Shepard, that's helping propel all the other programs that we have going on. So a good day for New Shepard is actually a great day for our lunar landing system, the human landing system, NASA's Artemis program, and all of the other programs we have here at Blue Origin.
Right. We do spend a lot of time thinking about the longer term architecture, right? They're all connected somehow, so the work kind of spills over into future projects. Well, so on that note, I would like to roll a film that we have here that compiles all the progress that we've made. And when I say we, I mean our national team. We're working together with Lockheed Martin, with Northrop Grumman, and with Draper to go back to the moon with NASA, and this time to stay.
And okay, so
the national team is the kind of outstanding leadership, outstanding experience that I like to work with. Blue Origin itself brings innovation and modern thinking to the table. Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman and Draper all bring an extraordinary experience, not only from Apollo, but before Apollo into the present.
We've been developing the BE-7 for several years. Cygnus has been flying resupply missions to the space station. Orion has been in development for a long time. And so these technology demonstrations that have been developed in the context of those programs have already been underway.
It's amazing to think that we're only 6 months into this program, and the number of tests we've done on this program compared to anything I've ever worked on before is just mind-boggling.
In the base period, we've conducted a campaign of 25 specific risk reduction tests in 8 technology areas that are fundamental to returning humans to the surface of the moon.
We've taken our sensors and flown them on the New Shepard vehicle right to the edge of space as they execute a profile that's going to match the speeds and the altitudes that our actual sensors will see as we go down to the moon.
The BE-7 testing is happening out at the East Test area at Marshall, a place I know very well. Huntsville and Marshall in particular has a lot of capability in helping teams be successful.
We're using actual LiDAR sensors to test out docking with already existing software.
We have a full-scale model of our vehicle down at the Johnson Space Center, where the crew is able to come and interact with that vehicle, test it out, kick the tires.
We must have a future for our grandchildren and their grandchildren. We were given a gift, this nearby body called the moon. And it's this generation's job to build that road to space so that the future generations can unleash their creativity. None of this is easy, all of it is hard. Big things start small.
Okay, so we think that Blue Origin is very less active, but behind the curtain some things like this actually goes on, and they are going on with the New Glenn rocket also. So let's see what we have in store for us.
Video on Blue Origin's YouTube channel, so go check it out. Okay, we're at T-minus 16 minutes and 40 seconds to go until launch. Why don't we take a moment here and check out our rocket as she prepares for her maiden flight to space.
Okay, so as you can see right now we are T-minus 16 minutes from the launch, and I am switching over to the simulations now. So yeah, the thing is, Blue Origin does not release any timeline, so
to our live webcast of New
the
Shepard's
things with my simulation can be out of sync, so pardon me for that. That's a disclaimer, you can say that.
Before we get there, let's talk about the incredible work that we're doing down in Huntsville, Alabama. Now, Huntsville is where we've been developing our BE-7 engines and where our lunar program office is based. Huntsville also was the home of the Saturn rocket, which took Apollo astronauts all the way to the moon and back. So it's fitting that it's also the place where we've decided to put our lunar program office. We've been growing our presence in Huntsville, and it's also the home to our high-rate engine factory, which just less than a year after it's been open has 145 people in it. Our very own Jackie Cortez was in Huntsville recently and filmed a short tour of the factory, so why don't we take a look?
Here we are inside Blue Origin Huntsville. There is a lot happening here at our full-rate engine production facility. Blue Origin is developing both the BE-4 engine and the BE-3U here in Huntsville. And it's also home to Blue Origin's lunar program office.
And
this
Blue
is the
Origin
BE-4 engine. It is 550,000 pounds of thrust, and it is built right here in Huntsville, Alabama. BE-4 is powering both Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket and United Launch Alliance's Vulcan booster. Welcome to what we call the high bay. It takes a lot to make the BE-4 and the BE-3U engines. A lot of cutting-edge technology, top-notch machining, and we're going to see a lot of that here today. So what we have here is one of our laser welding machines, and laser welding is a critical process for both BE-4 and BE-3U. BE-4 is a regeneratively cooled engine, and so these channels are really important to flow that cool liquid through. Inspection is a really important part of the engine production process, and so let's go ahead and take a look in the dye penetrant lab.
Dye penetrant is a surface inspection. We'll look at the preforms and the weldments, and we'll look for cracks and any defects that might be in there.
Another inspection technique is X-ray.
We shoot each portion of the weld, and we examine the images just like you would have at a medical X-ray. We're looking for defects or anything that is detrimental to the part.
The machine shop here in Huntsville is very impressive. There is an entire row of mill machines. The piece will come in, it is loaded into the machine, and it's milled down to the required specifications for that particular component. Last but certainly not least, I'm really excited to show you all the newest addition to Blue Origin Huntsville, a full-scale mock-up of our lunar lander for the Human Landing System program. This lander is powered by the BE-7 engine, which is the newest engine in Blue Origin's propulsion family. NASA's program is named Artemis because Artemis was the twin sister of Apollo, and through the Artemis program, we are looking to land the first woman on the moon. Thanks for joining me for the tour today. I had such a great time showing you all around, and I cannot wait to update you on what's next here in Huntsville.
Okay, so we got to know some of the insights of how the rocket technology works, and that was pretty good, I think.
As mentioned, Patrick, we just opened that factory less than a year ago in February, and it's amazing to see just how fast that factory is coming to life with all the machinery. It's also very cool that our lunar program is down there in Huntsville, given the rich space history that's in the area.
That's right, from chariots for Apollo to landers for Artemis. It's, while we're on the topic of all this great work Huntsville doing.
So yes, hi everyone, welcome to this stream. Hi Maxi, hi Anamika, hi Tom Darko, hi Dave, and hi Angel. So if you like my work, what I do, so you can always support me on the Patreon. I basically do live streams of all the rocket launches that happens, as well as the space events, as well as other space related videos too on this channel you will find. So this is the one-stop solution. You can support me for thing I do by becoming a Patreon, or one-time donation is also appreciated, and that's why the super chat is enabled. So yeah, you can do that. So right now we are on a hold, guys.
In Huntsville, Alabama.
As you can see, T minus 12 minutes, we have a hold, so I don't know what actually happened here.
All right, well, let's get started. This is our Mars base. We've actually got some basil over here. We had some parsley, so we're growing all sorts of stuff.
Wow, let's see. On Blue Origin's last launch, NS-14, the Club for the Future flew tomato spheres, seeds to space. We just planted a few here. Okay. Tomatoes on Mars.
Yes.
I love it.
So we're gonna head over and actually jump into Discovery.
We tried to do as much hands-on and immersive activities as we can.
Houston, we have a problem.
Engineering design challenges, the missions and the simulators are of course a huge part of what they do here.
So basically this is just gonna get the idea of what it feels like to be out of control, like a tumble spin.
Do I get astronaut wings after this? That is a cool rocket. Wow. That just never gets old. Whoa. There she is.
Yeah,
so
the
we're
Saturn
about to
V does
see
not get
Saturn
old.
V and F1 engines fire on the historic 4670 test stand. One day soon, you'll see New Glenn's BE4 engines fire on that same stand.
Okay.
All right, so let's check out our human landing system here. We got Lockheed Martin, Blue Origin, Northrop Grumman, and Draper, all working together on an integrated
Let me see,
human
guys,
landing system.
what's
and now
the
it's time to
reason
go
of the
back
hold?
and build a sustainable
Just a sec.
present. Club for the Future's mission is to inspire youth to pursue careers in STEM and help visualize the future of life in space. And so you've been making some cards with the kids, and we're able to send them to space and then mail them back to the students.
And this gives them the opportunity to see that space is about creativity too. And this activity helps drive that point home.
You think about the history of Huntsville, and it's so fitting for companies like Blue Origin to be here now because it was always about where the future of space is going.
There's so many opportunities in the world of spaceflight that these students go, I can do that?
Yeah, the work you're doing here to inspire the future generations to pursue STEM, pursue space, I just can't imagine that, Space Camp won't be a big part of our history for many reasons. Just wanted to give this to you. Let me pin you here.
I love it.
All right, it's official.
Oh, man, I think she definitely deserved her astronaut wings for that one. I'm not quite sure how well I do in that tumble sim.
Right now, guys,
thank you.
Blue Origin hasn't released anything for why there has been a hold, but we'll get to that soon. I mean, yeah.
Mannequin Skywalker's flight to space today. Okay, we are at T-minus 12 minutes. We are in a hold here. We've said it in previous webcasts. If we need a couple of minutes extra to prepare our launch today, that's quite all right. We spend years designing these vehicles and building them, months preparing for missions. So if we need a couple more minutes, that's quite all right. But while we have a couple minutes here, why don't we talk about kind of the broader mission that we all in the space sector are a part of.
Okay.
And that's inspiring the next generation. Maybe to go into space, but definitely to go into other STEM areas. So we actually have some questions about space, I believe, from some school students. So why don't we check out one of those questions?
Hello, Blue Origin. My name is Alexander Mather from Fairfax County, Virginia. When I first arrived at Space Camp, I had no idea that my life would forever change. I learned that the opportunities in space are as vast as space itself. One of Blue Origin's most well-known creations is the new Shepard, a reusable space rocket. So, how do you make a rocket reusable? I understand the concept, but the way the system works is far beyond me. Help us understand how Blue Origin built the new Shepard reusable launch vehicle.
I mean, okay, this kid is
Great
actually
question,
very
Alex.
confident.
Now, at the center of any rocket, but certainly at the center of New Shepard's reusable rocket, is the engine. And that is absolutely critical to reusability. Because what that engine allows us to do is take off like a regular rocket, but because it's throttleable, we can pull back on the throttle. That allows for a nice soft landing of the rocket, which means A, that we get the rocket back, and B, that it comes back nice and gently so that the refurbishment on the rocket is rather minimal.
So
that is
guys,
critical.
let me just talk about something right now here, and that is hold programmed. I mean, is it in the program? I don't know, but yeah, I'm looking for it, but I'm not able to find any perfect thingy. But actually right now you can see here we are on a hold and T-minus 12 minutes, and these kind of holds could be because of some weather violations or so, but we have one thing which we know, that the TFR issued for this rocket is valid till 21 UTC today, so the launch window is likely to close at around 20 UTC. So that's what we know, and according to that, how much time do we have till the hold passes? Just a sec. We have, oh okay, we have pretty much, we do have a good amount of time today, but yeah, right now you are looking at the rocket, and and now I can take your questions, right, which I missed. So Philip says, do they not realize this is not a future proof way of going back to the moon? How much crap are they going to leave on the moon? Yes, Philip, you can say that, because the ascent, there is a ascent module as well as a descent module. So once the descent module is ditched off from the ascent module, it is not reused. Maybe this is, since this is a space hardware and it is very costly to make and manufacture and maintain, so they will, I think so, will sort of think some way of using it, maybe using it as a I don't know what they will use it, because they don't even have any pressurized cabin also to have to use this as a, you can say, astronaut complex or something like that. And right now the descent module, whenever they will go to the moon and then the descent module ditches off from the ascent one, it will stay like that. So yeah, the better configuration is of the Dynetics as well as the this lunar starship is obviously fully reusable, no worries with that. The Dynetics on the other hand only ditches its fuel tanks, so yeah, that is, you can say, it is a kind of a good thing we have.
We are T-minus 12 minutes to go until launch. This rocket that you see on the pad, she is getting ready for her first mission. You see she's looking nice and shiny, new there. We're going to give her a couple of reused rockets char marks, hopefully in a couple of minutes here. That should be exciting. But we are in a hold here. We just want to make sure we give some time to our teams to get aligned. And while we've got a little bit of extra time, why don't we take another question from a student about space?
Okay.
Hello, my name is Kier Fair, and I am a sophomore in Lexington, Kentucky. My first experience with Blue Origin occurred 3 years ago while I was at Kennedy Space Center attending space camp.
Okay, so
so many companies outside of NASA were involved in space and planet exploration. So the question I have is, what do you hope to gain from establishing human habitats on the moon?
Okay, good question.
Thanks, Kira. Great question. So our vision at Blue Origin is millions of people living and working in space to benefit Earth. And you're right, one of the next steps that we have on our agenda, if you will, is to go to the moon, and this time to stay. And why is that important? Whether you're living on a space station that's orbiting the Earth, or you're living on some sort of body out there in, in space, we need to understand what it takes to live long term in this difficult environment. And so by going to the moon, it's the nearest body where we can go there, establish a base, figure out how we can live and work in space, because it's not easy when you're out there and you don't have any atmosphere and it's cold and you need to figure out how to.
So yeah, right now we can take more questions. So yes, what was I saying? Yeah, the Dynetics moon lander. So the Dynetics moon lander is kind of reusable because it only ditches its fuel tank. So if they somehow manage to make fuel on the moon, which they have to eventually, and make the fuel tanker also, then they will be, I think they will be reusable, using the Dynetics moon lander also. And the Starship, we all know there is no there is no problem with it. So yeah, that's, you can say that. But every other thing has its own benefits and thing. So the human landing system is a bit complex one for the Blue Origin, I mean the national team, I should say, because they have a transfer stage, we have a descent stage, and they have an ascent stage. But it also has its advantages with that. I mean, they need to carry less fuel because of less weight and whatnot. So yeah. When will the Blue Origin New Glenn launch? We don't know yet. I mean, Blue Origin does not releases anything at publicly like SpaceX. We know everything about SpaceX, officially or unofficially, we know everything. But for the Blue Origin, we don't, and that's what it is making them a secretive organization, I should say that, because they work behind the curtains, I should say that. And we don't know what is their progress and how are they actually doing. I mean, take this example only. The new Shepard rocket is in operation for around 5 years now, I think so. Yeah. And now they are aiming for, like, this flight will be able to test their devices and equipments for the human space flight one now. But till then they were just designing it and the rocket and making it suitable for people like us. So yeah, they were testing and testing and testing, and finally this is happening. But since they are launching it a little bit less, and that makes sense also. So see, the thing is, SpaceX has their customers as the satellite, right? And the people make satellites and they need to be launched into the orbit, and the satellite market is growing and growing and growing with the advancement in technology. But this rocket does not launch a satellite. There's nothing which can stay in the orbit. This rocket launches experiments, and I think it is hard to find experiments, although the experiments kind of a thing is very cool to have, because then you don't have to design any this satellite to stay in space. You can just design the experiment, gather the data, and there you go. But people are less on that, so maybe the customers, they are not getting, that's why they are not launching. I don't know, maybe that could be one of the reason. And the other reason, they are developing their new Glenn rocket, as well as they are right now in the HLS system, which is in development, and they have developed a pretty good amount of thing on that, which we just saw. That, yeah, that's why this thing could be here. And talking about the new Glenn launch, this year, New Glenn is set to launch this year, but we don't know yet. Blue Origin has its setback with this launch, but the New Glenn is aimed to be launched this year, and that too early this year.
Back to New Shepard's 14th mission to space. We're at T-minus 12 minutes to go until launch. I do understand that the team is dealing with some mid-level winds, as we've talked about in the past. It can get windy down there in Texas. It looks like a big, beautiful blue day down there in Texas, but we do have to monitor the winds for the rocket's ascent and, of course, descent. So we're going to keep our eyes on that for just a couple of minutes here. But while we've got some time, Patrick, you, as mentioned, you are part of our lunar program. Do you want to talk a little bit about your thoughts about why are we going back to the moon?
Yeah, Kira asked a great question, which is why are we going back and what are people going to do there? And people are of course going to play a tremendous role in doing all the science on the moon. There's nothing really like having someone trained as a geologist who can actually go there and actually see what's going on, as Jack Schmidt will tell you. But also, as we look towards the future, we're going to want to use the moon, which is really a gift for Earth. We're going to want to use it to allow us to start, building that future where millions of people are living and working in space. And what it means is we're going to learn how to use all of the local resources there. So the lunar regolith, the water ice that's there, and many other things we probably haven't even discovered yet. And so we need people there to help, build all that infrastructure and then slowly start to come back off the surface of the moon and start building all of these great things that we want to have, in space, all over between, the Earth and the moon.
Right. I mean, sure, we went there 50 years ago, but there's so much more to learn.
That's right.
And especially as technologies have evolved over the last 5 decades, there's so much more that we can learn. So it's critical that we go back. And as we said, this time...
Actually, the thing, why are we going back is fundamental reason is to go to the Mars, as we want to become interplanetary species. And the moon will prove to be as a pit stop for orbital, the rocket refueling, you can say that. Because, and why are we interested in the south pole of the moon? Because it has water in it. There is the craters and it has water in it, and that we can harness to convert it into hydrogen and oxygen, and that can be used as the rocket fuel.
Hello, I'm Beth Mattingly, and I'm a 3rd grade teacher at Heritage Elementary School in the Madison City School System. My daughter went to Space Camp as part of the curriculum in Madison City Schools. Space Camp really opened her mind to the what-ifs and possibilities of new things. This inspired me even more to bring space-related STEM into the classroom. In my classroom, we talk about career opportunities. What kind of careers do you think will exist in space when Blue Origin's visions of millions of people living and working in space to benefit Earth is realized?
Thank you, Mrs. Mattingly. That's a wonderful question. Right now, when people think of space, they might think, well, it's for engineers and scientists, and it's true. We need a lot of excellent scientists and engineers. But when we're ultimately living and working in space, we're going to need not just the engineers to get us there, but we're going to need all of these other people and other careers to help sustain people as we live and work in space. So we're going to need teachers like you, and we're going to need lawyers, we're going to need business people, we're going to need farmers, we're going to need
everyone we will
people
be needing,
to make deliveries. We're going to need all sorts of people when
even
we're
farmers
living
also.
and
So
working in space. What do you think, Patrick?
Yeah, I think, Iron, you've hit it right on the head. Right now we're going up there to, explore or conduct experiments, but at some point we're going to be up there to live and work. So you can imagine all of the skills that it takes to live and work are going to be required up in space. It's just, you're going to, you're going to be a space chef or whatever. Right. And eventually, our goal, like we said, is to go to space to benefit Earth. So we're going to want to lift a lot of that heavy industry, off of Earth and actually do it in space. So I imagine, a world in which we're going to have folks up there, working on all of the, really heavy industry, whether it be, generating power or building really highly complex machines. All of those skills are going to be needed. And we're also going to need the filmmakers and the poets and all the people that are going to, look and stare out the window and look back at planet Earth and write all the things that are going to inspire us to, keep going.
Okay, so yeah, we actually need everyone, and I was thinking about this thing that if we become interplanetary species, then we have to turn vegetarian. All the people have to turn vegetarian because there is no meat and no animals in space. But there is something called lab grown meat which is being tested right now, and it's been approved from the from in Singapore also, which and has hit the market also. So if that technology of lab grown meat is developed fully, then only we'll be able to have something called meat in space. Otherwise, everyone has to turn vegetarian to live in space, because that's what you can grow. The vegetables, the things, that's all you can grow there, right? I think so. And right now we are on a hold. Temporary restriction at this to they have this temporary restriction, but 14th to 17. I mean, yeah, they can skip to other day also, but since this is a weather only related, and we do have around 2 hours of launch window, 2 hours or 3 hours of launch window still left, so maybe we can get something out of it. And okay, the launch countdown has resumed. That's a good thing, and I should be doing that now.
All right, thank you everybody for joining us for our 14th New Shepard launch to space. We are at T-minus 11 minutes and 30 seconds to go until launch. I understand we have just cleared the hold. Our team is ready to go, so thank you so much for your patience. Let's get ready to launch this rocket. I'm super stoked that we're going forward. Okay, we just had a couple of wonderful questions from schools around the country here, and I want to also send some shout outs to some other schools around the country, those that have sent some postcards that are flying on New Shepard today. So we've got Pinnacle Peak Preparatory in Arizona. I want to send a special hello to a star student there. Hi, Abby. In Florida, near our New Glen Rocket Factory, a special thank you to Grove Park Elementary, Andrew Robinson Elementary, and more. And Patrick, these postcards are coming from all around the world. We've got 13 countries so far. And fun fact, today's flight officially completes the 7th out of 7 continents. We have one postmark from a British research station in Antarctica. Isn't that cool?
That's quite awesome.
Literally,
or cool.
Literally cool, very cool. If you want to send your postcard to space on New Shepard, visit the club's website for directions.
I mean, if they can, I mean, yeah, people want to mail them actually the postcard through the offline mail they have to send. That's what it's the criteria right now. But if they enable the emailing also, then more people will be able to send the postcard. But the thing is, then there won't be like that thing which like you have written or you have drawn something on the card and that is flown to space. That thing will not be there, but people will be able to actually send postcards to space then. Yeah, but right now we are T-minus 9 minutes and 44 seconds from the launch. We had a hold and it has been lifted up, and now we are proceeding towards the countdown. Everything is looking good, but again I'm telling you one of the disclaimer, that is the KSP simulation which you are right now seeing in the right hand corner could be out of sync because Blue Origin hasn't released any of the timeline. Whatever I have done in this is a rough estimate. So, and this booster is also a new booster, and they are doing a whole lot of new maneuvers, and so I don't know, but let's see how does it go. So this is the mission profile they are telling you. So
done this again and again as we keep practicing and maturing our suborbital system. So we're going to start out by launching both the booster and the capsule, off of our launch pad. We're going to shoot up quite quickly, and at about 2.5 minutes after launch, we're going to shut down that main engine on the booster. Shortly thereafter, we're going to separate the capsule and the booster. They're going to obviously keep ascending up because of all the speed we've actually been able to impart on them. That's the point, where if you and I were in that capsule, we would unstrap and float around and just look out those great windows. Of course, in this flight, Mannequin will stay where he is.
I would do a somersault.
I know you would.
I keep saying that. I'm going to do it one day, I promise you.
And then at that point, the booster is going to come back down first because it's more aerodynamically shaped. So it's going to re-enter, and then it'll start slowing itself down. And then about 3,000 feet above the surface, that BE-3 PM engine is going to relight and then gently and very accurately and precisely land that rocket down on the north landing pad. In the meantime, we would get back into our seats and strap back in. The capsule would re-enter, and then after going through the atmosphere, atmosphere, the drogue chutes are going to open up. They're going to help stabilize the capsule, and then they're going to pull the 3 main chutes out. We're going to see 3 great big chutes open, slow down the capsule, and then just before touchdown, we're going to see our terminal descent system shoot out a puff of air, which is going to kick up a lot of dust, but that puff of air is going to allow a pillow soft landing for Mannequin and our future astronauts.
Wonderful. 1 to 2 miles an hour, right? Super soft. Should be another beautiful launch and landing today. Well, I do want, while we have an extra minute here, I do want to talk a little bit about the launch site 1, West Texas. We've talked about this before. It's not only where we launch and land New Shepard, as you were just talking about, but it's also where we test our rocket engines. And I want to cut to a clip, fresh out hot the oven clip of our BE-4 engine test from earlier this week that we've prepared for you. This is our BE-4 engine, 550,000 pounds of thrust. That's in comparison to 110,000 pounds of thrust on the BE-3 engine that's flying today. We also, it's LOX LNG, so it's a different propellant. And here you see it firing. This is one of our 2 test stands that's down in West Texas. There's some drone footage that we compiled for you. That thing creates quite the rumble down in the valley in Texas. And ultimately, this is going to propel United Launch Alliance's Vulcan rocket, as well as our New Glenn vehicle. There will be 7 of these engines on the base of New Glenn, and that is going to create a rumble down in Florida when we launch New Glenn. So kudos to our engine team for the progress on this groundbreaking engine.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at T-minus 5 minutes and 50 seconds to go until launch. We're getting really close.
Everything is looking good right now, and we are T-minus 5 minutes around from the launch. And
to the astronaut experience inside New Shepard's crew capsule. And we're getting very, very close to flying our first astronaut. So that's why it's critical that we test these systems. Let's do a recap of those. There will be 6 seats on board. Mannequin Skywalker is going to be occupying one of those seats. There will be push-to-talk capabilities in each seat. There'll be speakers to hear mission control throughout the flight. There will be environmental systems, including a cooling system and humidity controls to regulate the temperature inside the capsule. But in particular, that's also going to prevent these big, beautiful windows from fogging up during the flight. We're also testing a crew alert system at each seat, which has important indicators to take you through the entire flight as an astronaut. And last but not least, you've seen in there the white acoustic paneling in there. That's to dampen any engine noises or any sorts of other ambient noises. So in the final moments here, all eyes are on New Shepard. We're at T-minus 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go until launch. Right about now is when she's going to start to come alive. So mission control at T-minus 2 minutes throws the show over to New Shepard, and that's when she goes into autonomous mode from T-minus 2 minutes through launch and landing. So we're going to throw it out to the pad, check out New Shepard here as she gets ready. And the next set that we'll come back for to talk you through are the final hydraulic system checks and the engine gimbal check.
Exactly. So soon you will be actually be seeing the fins of the aft fins, which are located beneath the rocket. Not beneath, but to the bottom part of the rocket will actually rotate, or some movement will be there, and obviously the engine gimbal will be there, which you will be seeing. And yeah. So guys, if you are new to this channel, I do these kind of streams, the rocket launches. I host every rocket launch that happens and the space events. So, and we have other space related videos too. So if you want, you can subscribe to my channel to for one-stop solution to every space related query. You can say that, and you can support me, because that really helps to keep this channel alive. I should say the super chats, which you actually go do, and the Patreons. Louis Smith is my constant Patreon, and I really like to thank her, because that's what actually enables this channel to provide you the content. And yeah, and again we are at a hold, but I think this could be a programmed one, but we don't know, because at T-minus 2 minutes we actually won't be having any hold. because the thing which will go into its autonomous flight. So yeah. So yeah, that was I was saying that super chats really help this channel to keep you alive, keep this thing alive, and deliver more and more content. So yeah. Okay, we are back. That's what I told, and I need to upgrade. Just a sec. How much time? And here we go, guys. You can see
All
right
right,
now.
everybody, welcome back for New
Wow.
Shepard's 14th mission to space. You see the gantry retracting there. We are getting ready for a launch, Patrick. This is when it gets really exciting. All right.
Exactly.
We have thrown the show over to the rocket. She is in autonomous mode right now. We're waiting to see the final hydraulic system checks and engine gimbal check.
You will actually see those fins now being to move, and the gimbal check.
There you go. You see the aft fins.
Yeah. It is
making
happening,
sure
guys.
they've got full clearance
Get
there.
ready to
There
see
are
some
4
launch
fins on the
today.
base of that rocket. We want to check these aerodynamic surfaces and systems before flight. This is just exactly what a pilot does on an aircraft.
Excited right now. Really. T-1 minute from
Waiting
the
here
launch.
for the engine gimbal check. You see the nozzle there peeking out. There it goes. The engine is also obviously to propel the rocket, but is critical in guiding the rocket on its ascent, but as well as on its descent as it comes into land on the northern landing pad just 2 miles north of where the rocket is taken off from.
T-minus 35 seconds. This is happening.
All right, and that takes us to launch. Lieutenant Control. Here we go, New Shepard. Have a great flight, Mannequin Skywalker. Enjoy that shiny new capsule, and we'll see you back home soon at Launch Site 1.
20, 19, 18, 17, 16.
Minus 16, guidance internal.
14, 13, 12, 11, 10.
Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2, 1. Ignition.
And we have a liftoff of the New Shepard rocket onto the space. Wow.
Oh, yeah, look at her go. Mission Control has confirmed New Shepard has cleared the tower on her way to space from Launch Site 1 in the West Texas desert with Mannequin Skywalker on board.
Wow.
Right about now, the fins on the aft portion of the vehicle are going to help the vehicle do its roll maneuver.
Okay, here I missed this
The
thing.
booster is going to be rolling at about 2 to 3 degrees per second, which equates to a full rotation of the vehicle every 2 to 3 minutes. This, of course, is to give the astronauts a 360-degree view during the flight.
Guys, this is happening, and right now it is
coming up here
actually
on
propelling
Max Q,
towards the space, and
maximum
Max Q
dynamic
is
pressure
happening.
on the rocket. It's
Wow.
the toughest part of the toughest portion of the flight for the rocket. And we've confirmed Max Q. Excellent.
And there goes the contrails, and this is perfectly nominal. That happened because of the weather. It's okay. It is right now. You can see
All right,
it is
you can see on
propelling
the
towards
top
the
right
space.
side of your screen,
Wow.
that's where you can follow along as we're gaining speed as she climbs up towards space. In the bottom left corner
I
is
really
the
doubt
altimeter.
that they will have a MECO
Noted
at,
in feet above
Let's
ground
see.
level, although you may have noticed upon at liftoff we were sitting at 3,700 feet above mean sea level. That's the altitude of our West Texas launch site.
Wow.
Now Mannequin Skywalker, and they're starting to feel those G's, around 3.5 G's on the way up to space. It's very similar to a roller coaster, but in that horizontal position of the seats, definitely is a much more comfortable ride.
Coming up next is the MECO, wherein the main engines will be cut off, and this thing will now...
All right, now approaching main engine cutoff, or MECO. So we're going to shut off the BE-3 engine.
And here they go.
MECO is confirmed. Now you'll notice that the booster and the capsule are continuing as their combined ascent to space. As you watch the altitude continue to... Speed is dropping, of course, as it no longer has the propulsion from the BE-3 engine.
Okay.
Separation of the two craft is confirmed. You can start to see the two craft in the screen.
Okay. Happening, guys. This is happening. I'm really excited.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live for New Shepard's 14th mission to space. The maiden launch for this rocket. So far, everything appears to be nominal.
From inside, guys.
The two craft have separated. Right about now is when, if you were an astronaut in there, that's when you'd be able to float around, gaze out of those huge, gorgeous windows.
We can see the booster,
maybe even do a
well
somersault or two.
Right,
I know I would certainly do that. And as we've noted in previous flights, if you follow along on the speed on the top right corner, as soon as that speed hits 0, that's when you know that the rocket and the capsule have hit its apogee point, the highest point in the flight of the rocket.
And I have messed this up. I mean, the not mess, but things are there. Animation is syncing, but I don't know it will be there for long now. But let us see what happens. The apogee is approaching, and here we go. The apogee is...
It's hit 0, and now they are heading back home.
Towards these.
We should have an unofficial apogee altitude coming up here shortly.
The booster is now coming back first.
But we have gone well over 100 kilometers. The Kármán line, the official line of space, and there it is, 350,827 feet above, I believe, mean sea level. So that is excellent. A great flight, well over the Kármán line. Mannequin Skywalker is an astronaut once again.
Mm-hmm. And right now they are actually gathering the data
now the capsule
and everything.
Should be continuing to do its slow spin. Everybody gets a window seat in the capsule of New Shepard, but now we're making sure everybody gets the perfect view.
So, yeah.
All right, the two craft are heading back home now. The booster is going to beat the capsule back home. Obviously, it's more aerodynamically shaped, and so it's going to come down first. Right about now, in the next 10 to 15 seconds or so, this is when we expect the rocket to hit atmospheric pierce point. That means that's when it's coming back in, and it's back home from space, and it has enough air pressure upon which it can use its aerodynamic surfaces to push.
Deploy now.
That will help guide the rocket back to its landing pad, again, 2 miles north of where it's taken off from. We have confirmation that the wedge fins have been deployed. Those fins are at the forward section, the top section of the rocket. They're housed in the ring fin. They also help provide stability for the rocket as it comes into land.
Okay, let's see how it goes now, guys. That's what we are missing,
and
Richard.
This booster is screaming home right about now. Its maximum return velocity is just under Mach 4.
Actually, they should have, I think, shown at least the capsule views. That would have been so good.
So we're looking now for the drag brakes to deploy. As soon as those deploy, you'll see the speed come down very rapidly. You're starting to see that in the top right corner there.
Should happen now.
And then in quick succession, we're going to get the BE-3 engine to restart.
Brakes.
The landing gear will deploy, and then the booster will come in
and
for a nice
you can see
touchdown.
the drag brakes have been deployed.
There are the drag brakes.
And there goes the sonic boom. Okay. And the booster has ignited. Okay.
Engine restart. Landing gear deployed. And touchdown. Welcome back, New Shepard. Oh, you can hear our team back here at headquarters enjoying this moment for this rocket.
Okay.
What a day. Did a nice little maneuver there to bring it back, back to the center of the pad, but that is what we're looking for. A completely autonomous system, Patrick. That never gets old. That's the type of stuff that makes live rocket launches and landings so exciting.
I know. Every time I see that booster come back, it's just like your heart's in your throat. But it's just
something is going wrong, but
to see it
managed to land
and just
then.
perfectly land down
That
there.
was so cool.
Incredible, incredible. Kudos to our whole team for adding yet another rocket to our fleet. Wow. Okay. Well, the show is not over.
That's right.
We still are waiting here for the crew capsule to come back. As noted, first the drogue chutes will deploy.
Have been deployed,
Those
guys.
are like the guide parachutes. The mains will then deploy. You'll also see the mains then inflate to full inflation. And once they're fully inflated, that's when the crew capsule starts to slow down, comes in, a nice 15, 16 miles an hour, a nice cruise back home. We'll wait for it to come back in to our valley in West Texas, and it will land. And just as we talked about, just in the last milliseconds, the retrothrust system fires, and it creates a nice pillow, air pillow, if you will. So Mannequin Skywalker, by the time he touches down, it's just at about 1 mile an hour. It's a nice, soft touchdown.
And here finally we have the views of the
crew capsule has its mains deployed, fully inflated. What an incredible day for the team.
Wow. See those 3 beautiful parachutes, but I need to talk. I'll talk you about the landing.
What a beautiful shot. You know, Mannequin Skywalker, I mean, if he had adrenaline, his heart would be thumping pretty hard. What a day. All the way up over the Kármán line and back, coming in for a nice soft cruise back into our West Texas Valley there. Just about 400 feet above ground level. We're waiting for the retrothrust systems to fire, and then a nice soft landing.
Okay, and here we go. We have the touchdown.
And touchdown.
Wow.
What a day. What a beautiful shot. Congratulations to all of Team Blue. Really well deserved. This is our 14th mission. A safe landing for the booster, safe landing for the crew capsule. We were talking about add a little bit of char to the bottom of the that rocket. Came back nice and clean though. Look at that. Absolutely spectacular. Now, if you were an astronaut on board that capsule there, you would have had an incredible ride up over the Kármán line and back. Get the big, beautiful views out of the, we did the 360-degree spin this time. Get your 3 minutes of weightlessness. I can't wait to check out the onboard cameras to see the views that Mannequin Skywalker experienced today. Just what a day.
I know, and how about those drone shots of the rocket and actually the capsule coming down? Those were pretty spectacular.
Those were beautiful.
Exactly.
Looks like a nice, clean landing right there in the desert. Everything looks to have gone perfectly today. So our recovery crew is going to be headed out to the crew capsule to open up the hatch, inspect the craft, greet Mannequin Skywalker, and retrieve the postcards on board.
Yeah, I always think about this moment, when I try to visualize, what would it be like to actually fly on New Shepard and coming right back down? And so you've just landed safely, the hatch just opens, and now for the first time you step out of the hatch back onto Earth, and you're an astronaut. And you've seen the Earth from 100 kilometers up from space just moments ago, and now here you are back on it. I mean, that must just be incredible. But this was such an exciting mission, such an exciting day. Let's take a look at some of the replays here to show you that gorgeous takeoff and landing.
I just don't have any words what I've witnessed and how well the
there we go,
animation
the BE-3 engine
without
firing.
any timeline. Wow.
110,000 pounds of thrust, pushing that rocket and the crew capsule up to space. Patrick, I know you've been down there during these launches. The rumble that comes from that engine as the rocket is taking off is just incredible. It shakes your bones.
It really does. And, as it takes off, it goes really fast. There's a lot of rockets where, the ascent is actually quite slow. But this one, I mean, it's flying.
It's going. It's gone.
It makes sense also.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, today is a huge win, not just for New Shepard, but also for our human landing system and our return to the moon. That BE-3 engine that you see right there, that's a liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen propellant combination. And that's the same really combination that we use on BE-7, our lunar lander engine. And you can just, right there, you can see that power, when it launches, and you can see that precision when it lands too, right? When you throttle it down, you get that nice precision landing.
Nice soft landing.
And so, if we were just building New Shepard just to do this mission, the suborbital mission, we would have probably chosen, a different propellant type, something much easier to work with. But this combination is just so powerful and so efficient and so useful. We use it on the upper stage of New Glenn, again, in order to get that efficiency. And that's why we're also using it on the BE-7 engine that will power that descent element for the human landing system for NASA's, Artemis program. And, as we all know, there's water ice in the South Pole on the moon. So I imagine one day here in a very near future, when we have built out our South Pole infrastructure on the moon, we're going to be able to use that water, break it down to liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen, refuel our lander, and use it again and again. That's going to go such a long way to make our sustainable presence on the moon. And I really like this drone shot.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see the lunar lander, and then the lunar lander with humans on board, right?
And every program here at Blue Origin
has been designed for human spaceflight from the very beginning. And as for today's mission, as we mentioned, we flew some upgrades to the astronaut experience inside this capsule.
Retrieving the postcards, yeah, let's see what happens now. I don't think so they will be transmitting that video here, but let's see what happens.
There were 6 flight seats on board. Mannequin Skywalker, of course, was in one of them. The speakers in the cabin have a microphone now and a push-to-talk button at each seat so the astronauts can talk to mission control on the ground at all times. We flew the crew alert system, which has a panel on each seat with lights and sounds that convey important safety messages. The wall linings in the capsule help suppress engine and ambient noise for comfortable acoustics inside the cabin. Also, environmental systems, including a cooling system and humidity controls to regulate temperatures and prevent the capsule windows from fogging up during flight. Of course, when you're up there, you want to see that gorgeous view. So some really exciting stuff. You see there on your screen there, that's our recovery team that has made it out to the capsule. As we mentioned, they're going to open up the hatch, greet Mannequin Skywalker back, and then get those postcards because we want to stamp them flown to space and send them out to all the kids. So before we close out here, I do hear that we have the statistics from today's mission. Why don't we take a look? These, of course, are unofficial statistics. We will release the official statistics after the webcast. So crew capsule apogee, 350,827 feet. Maximum ascent velocity, 2,242 miles per hour. Mission start time, 11:17 a.m. Central Time. Mission elapsed time, 10 minutes and 15 seconds.
That's super inspiring. I mean, it's so exciting to see us be able to, hit these numbers over and over. And, you know, if you were inspired, just like we were super inspired by what you saw here today, and want to come help us, you know, build that road to space, you know, we're hiring across all of our locations in the United States. We're hiring for New Shepard, for New Glenn, for engines, and of course, for advanced development programs for our human landing system. So I encourage everybody to go onto our website and actually go check those listings out.
Come
and
join the
get a
team.
job. Yeah, come join the team. Help us build the roads to space. And of course, you can also commemorate today's launch. You can pick up one of these really cool official New Shepard 14 mission patches and other gear at our shop by going to shop.blueorigin.com. Look at that cool mission patch right there, man. I want to add that to my collection.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't you have all of them?
I do, all of them.
That is really, really cool. Well, I know that there are a lot of folks that want to get their hands on them, so again, please go to that website. All right, that is all from here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in for New Shepard's 14th flight to space. The success of this flight puts us one really big step closer to flying astronauts. And Patrick, there's going to be a lot of fun ahead in 2021.
Awesome.
I mean,
all right, guys,
they are hinting something.
Stay in touch with us, and in the interim, stay safe out there. And as always, Gradatum Ferociter.
Okay. That was a bit weird ending, but okay. So guys, now it's the time to talk about the landing, the launch, and the touchdown. Okay, so first of all, I must say that we had a spectacular launch. I mean, although we had some glitches during the countdown time, which led to hold. Not exactly glitches, but the nature glitches. Yes, you can say that, the nature glitches. And then finally, the thing lifted off, and that was spectacular. I must say that. The separation happened, everything, and I'm really very surprised. Like my animations, the KSP simulations were really very much in sync, and that too without any timeline. The rough estimates and my calculations actually proved to be kind of true. So yeah, and this today's mission actually had this guy, which you are right now see, the Skywalker in it, and this it collected the G forces, the data, the mic, the USB, and everything. But one thing which I really wanted to see was the inside of the capsule. I mean, they should have, I think, displayed or actually have some views of inside of the capsule. How does the space look like from inside and whatnot? That would have been so awesome. And then everything went smoothly, picture perfect. But during the landing, if you compare the landing of the NS-13 mission and this NS-14 mission, this was a bit out of sync for the rocket. Yeah, because the landing zone, as you can see there, the landing zone, it wasn't right on the bull's eye. It was literally in a lateral position from actually the center, and that too it corrected at the very last moment. That's why I was able to make that. Otherwise it was like going in at some other direction only, and that the correction maneuver which it did, I mean, wow, that was also very thing to watch, because that didn't happen in the NS-13 mission. Okay, let me just pull up the NS-13 launch and the landing so that you will be able to see what am I talking about, because that NS-13 mission which they did was actually very smooth. The landing was buttery smooth, I should say that. And oh sorry, the NS-12, this is the NS-13, right? I always get confused with the NS-4 booster. They are having this NS-4 booster with it, and I get confused with it. Yeah, the NS-12 landing. Just a sec.
And the wedge fins are out.
Here, see this, you can
all
see
things
here
looking nominal.
For the NS-12 landing,
You may recall
how
those wedge
buttery
fins are
smooth
housed
it went.
up in the what we call our ring fin. As the rocket's coming back down, the air is flowing through that ring fin, centralizing the pressure, and that keeps the rocket nice and stable and straight. as it's coming back down to land. Of course, the wedge fins also help with the stability of the rocket as she descends back home to Earth. Next, we'll be looking for the drag brakes to deploy. Those are also housed in the ring fin, and that's going to dramatically cut the speed.
Now the booster should start. Drag brakes
They in
haven't
fact do
deployed
most
yet.
of the work in cutting the speed of the rocket as she comes back into land. And again, then we will look for the firing of the BE-3 rocket, sorry, the BE-3 engine, that is.
Drag brakes deployed, the booster
just 4 or
should
5 miles
start
an hour
now.
as she touches down.
And
there are the drag brakes.
Should start now, I suppose. And ignition. Here we go. And now just compare the landing. Okay. See the landing.
There's the sonic boom. Engine relay.
See the stability. See the stability.
And a smooth, controlled hover back home.
I was really very amazed to see such a smooth landing with this booster. I mean, wow.
Man, to think that
okay.
It's
yeah, that's what I was talking about basically. So did you just saw the NS-12 one and NS-13 one? NS-13 had very when it was descending, it actually missed the landing zone, and then it corrected the landing with its engine gimbal. And that's where the difference with the advantage of the grid fins comes in, if I'm not wrong. The wedge fins are there, and the wedge fins kind of work like that, but I'm not an expert of the Blue Origin rocket, so I don't know. But these kind of correction, as you can see here, which happens, the SpaceX, if you compare the landing the SpaceX does not usually, and you can't and you don't see any these harsh corrections at the very last moment, because the corrections of the to hit the drone shape for the SpaceX is done by the grid fins. And whatever is corrections are needed whenever it passes and has that thick atmosphere with it, the grid fins helps maneuver the booster and hit the drone ship. But here you just saw that that wasn't the case. I mean, it was literally missing the landing pad, and at the very last moment it corrected it, right? And yeah, that you can say. And the NS-12 mission, which had NASA hardware. And why am I suspecting this? Because the NS-11 mission, if you can also see the NS-11 mission, that also had this kind of a issue with it. And with the NS-12 mission, the previous one, it had complete smooth landing, buttery smooth landing, I should say, with the NASA hardware. And what type of NASA hardware it was? A landing hardware for the moon. I really suspect that it does not involve any maneuverability with the rocket with the NS-12 mission, NS-12 landing, because yeah, the hardware which was installed in the rocket was the landing hardware, but it was just to gather the data, didn't perform any kind of things to the rocket. I mean, yeah, if I'm right, that should have happened ideally, but I don't know. But yeah, the landing today was a bit off, but since we didn't have any rud, so yeah, I'm pretty happy that they managed to land it properly. This also suggests that if something goes wrong with the booster, then it is capable of correcting its trajectory at the very last moment. That is also a very good thing, if you want to say that like that. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Angel. And what's the location of this launch, you ask, Anna? It was Texas, I believe, the Corn Ranch, that's what they say. And it was Texas. And we had a beautiful liftoff, the separation, and the Skywalker must have had a good time in the capsule. And yeah, the landing and the touchdown, everything went correctly and rightly, I should say that. And now you should be looking in for the Starship flight, and which can really happen tomorrow. The Starship, the SN9 literally conducted. The SpaceX never actually um, never actually it amazes every time it does do some kind of a thing. And yeah, the last day or the yesterday, you can say, it conducted 3 static fires in quick succession. If you don't know, literally 3 and 4 for the SN9 rocket, and 3 in quick succession uh, with with yesterday. And there, since there was no rud and everything went perfectly right, so we can expect the Starship flight as early as tomorrow. So do watch out for that. And otherwise, we have a launch day after tomorrow of the Rocket Lab, and then after that is 16th, right? And then on the 17th we have a SpaceX Starlink mission. So this week is also kind of pretty hard for me, and your support like this, um, your Patreon support as well as the super chats really helps me to do what I am doing. So thank you so much for everything. And what else do I have? Nothing, right? Oh yeah, one more thing, guys. I wanted to ask, do you like the animations, the KSP simulations which actually happened? And I really want to have that feedback today. Actually, did you like it or not? I would be It would be nice if anyone can tell, because when it went right, many people were commenting that it actually increased the overall quality, but I don't know. So I'll see that. And also one more thing, I would like to know that the simulations, do you like it fully stock, KSP fully stock, or with the mods? With the mods you can get these clean looking rocket with the exact replica of what actually flies, but with the KSP stock, nah. That won't be the case. It won't look visually better, but yeah, it is KSP stock. So yeah. And nothing else, right? So yeah. So okay, no worries. I think I can end the stream now. So thank you so much for tuning in. Until then, this is Priyanshu Royala. You just saw Rocket Gyan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and bye bye.